Hello my friends, thank you for stopping by. Today I have a fun video in store for you. I'm going to share with you how I prepare for the week ahead. So I'll take you from that transition from the weekend to Monday morning and walk you through what we did during the week. And that includes taking a trip to Hobby Lobby and purchasing the very first of our Christmas decorations for this year. So come along and join me. We had a beautiful weekend strolling through one of our favorite neighborhoods, and it's always a treat to have my husband join. Sometimes he can't make it because he's working, but since this was the weekend, we had the treat of enjoying his company. And that brings us to the next day, which is Monday morning, and my kids are always hungry first thing in the morning. So we are cooking up some breakfast, and one of my favorite quick meals to prepare for them is an egg casserole. I just preheat my oven to 350, which also helps to warm up our home as it's super cold in the morning these days. And then I combine just in a large Pyrex baking dish about 12 eggs and about a cup of milk, some shredded cheese, and in this case I had some leftover ground beef and I sprinkled that in there, and I pop it into the oven for about half an hour, and it comes out so delicious. And usually we have leftovers, which is really helpful to me because the next morning I don't have to cook breakfast. It's just a matter of reheating the eggs. The next thing I try to do is come up with the schedule for the week. Because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I have the ability of creating and setting a schedule for my family. And so ultimately, if we don't have any appointments or anything booked for the week, I come up with activities and ideas that I think would be really beneficial for my kids and for the running of the household. And that's pretty much how I structure our days. I just think about what kinds of things my kids might enjoy and what the availability is of family or friends, and I set that to a day in the week. There are a few things that I keep in mind for our week, and one of them is baking bread. We don't buy bread from the grocery store, we make our own bread. And so I need to always plan ahead for one day during the week to bake some bread. I do keep a stock of bread in my freezer. I always try to bake extra just so I have something to hold us over in case we have a really hectic week. But typically I bake at least one time during the week, something bread related for our family. And then the other thing that I keep in mind when planning is the fact that I have little kids and things don't always work out the way that we plan. And so I try to give myself grace. So this is pretty much a brief blueprint of what our week looks like. And I always try to keep things really simple because typically things don't work out as we foresee. And so I try to give myself that flexibility where if something falls through, it's okay. We can always restructure our day depending on how the kids are feeling. So this is a rough idea of what our days look like on a daily basis. And as I mentioned before, things don't always follow through exactly as I have planned, but this helps to keep me on track. So there are times where I get busy with, one particular chore, or I finish something early and I'm trying to think of the next thing that I can accomplish. I like to look over at this and it gives me an idea of what I can start working on, or it gives me inspiration for an activity that I can do with my kids to hold us over for that particular time during the day. So this fluctuates a lot as well. It's not an exact look into what our day is, but it's relatively close to the way that we run things on a daily basis. If you have little kids, I'm sure you can relate that it's difficult to keep your young ones inside all day, especially during these winter months. So we try to find ways to bring the kids outdoors, at least for a little bit. And just taking a simple walk around the neighborhood makes such a difference. They get so much of their energy out, and it gives them a chance to enjoy the world around them. This week, I thought I'd try something a little bit different. I've been baking a lot with sourdough, and instead of just making my usual sourdough loaves, I decided to also throw in a loaf of focaccia bread. I figured if I was already fermenting my sourdough, I might as well start another dough at the same time, and that way I could make better use of my time. So I tried this recipe from Alexandra Cooks. I'll link the recipe below. And it came out so delicious. It was a lot easier than I thought. And it really doesn't take any more steps than your usual sourdough. Maybe there's one more period of fermentation involved. I also decided to spruce up the recipe a little bit, and I added in some manzanilla olives, and I love the flavor of olives and rosemary, so I decided to throw that into the bread. I think it tasted really delicious. I think the only thing I would change is I would drench the olives in some flour just so that they don't have the same amount of liquid. The dough around the olives was just a tad soggy, but other than that, I thought it had great flavor, and I love that the bread was studded with red and green from the olives and the rosemary. I think this would make the perfect Christmas gift for a neighbor or a family friend. And that's actually what I am thinking about doing for this year's Christmas gifts for our neighbors. I want to bake them some bread. And the nice thing about sourdough bread, or sourdough focaccia even, is the fact that it is fasting friendly. You're not using any eggs or any milk to produce the bread. So it's a great gift to give to your Orthodox friends who are in the middle of the Advent fast, because they can enjoy it during the Christmas season. Here's a bit of real life. I baked both of these sourdough loaves at the same time using the same recipe, but I think somehow there was a little bit too much liquid in the dough from the sourdough on the left. So as you can see, it didn't quite rise as nicely as the loaf on the right, but it's just a matter of trial and error when it comes to baking sourdough. Sometimes you hit the nail on the head, and sometimes you fall a little bit short, but at the end of the day, it still tastes delicious. All right, and now that brings us to our Christmas haul. I tried to spend as little money as possible this year on Christmas decorations. I pretty much am using most of the decorations that I've accumulated over the past few years. There were just some little areas in my home that I wanted to fill in with some simple Christmas touches. I am a red Christmas girl through and through. In the past, I've changed up my themes. One year I did a very neutral Christmas, and another year I did an old world Christmas with burgundies and orange and copper colors. And truthfully, as beautiful as they were, I did not feel like they were Christmassy enough for me. And so between last year and this year, I have been trying to purchase some bold red decorations to add to my garlands and to my picks, so that I can really feel that spirit of Christmas through that bright red color. And my husband and I agree, it just doesn't feel like Christmas in our home without that cheery red color. So this year I invested in these cute little candy cane trees. I feel like these trees are really beautiful because they have that nostalgic old candy look to them, and because they're made out of that special clay, they feel like real candy. And I love the fact that they have little lights inside, so wherever I place them, they will glow and be a statement piece. not only in the daytime, but also at night. The other thing that I purchased were a few more picks with berries in them. Berries are one of my favorite things to use when decorating for Christmas. They bring me back to my childhood. My father used to love decorating our tree with all kinds of gorgeous berries. And so for me, it doesn't feel like Christmas without some berries in the home. Unfortunately, because I have little kids, they are a little bit of a hazard, and so I haven't been able to decorate much with berries quite yet. Once they get older, I can see myself purchasing some more berries to put into my decorations, but for right now, I think I'm gonna hang these picks with berries somewhere high where my little ones can't reach them. And I love the look of flocked picks because where we live, we get snow during the winter time, and it's just a nice nod to the outdoors. Ribbon is my favorite way of adding affordable decorations to my home during Christmas time. I got these giant rolls of ribbon for about $5 a piece once the 50% discount was applied, and they add so much color and character to my home. And I just love the fact that just a touch of ribbon can transform decorations that I already have in my home into something truly whimsical for the holiday season. So now I'm going to share with you some other things that I picked up at Hobby Lobby just because they were too adorable not to show you. My daughter has a birthday during this time of year, and when I asked her what theme she wanted, she said she wanted a Nutcracker birthday. So we are going to give that to her, and truthfully, it is the perfect theme for this time of year. There are so many Nutcracker decorations at Hobby Lobby, and I found so many beautiful picks. We're going for a little bit of like a Candyland theme with Nutcracker, so everything is pastel tones. And how gorgeous are these picks? I thought they were just the cutest thing. So many different types of dessert treats, and Hobby Lobby also has a wonderful selection of nutcrackers, and so I was able to find a sugar plum princess nutcracker. My son picked out a nutcracker of his own, and we even found a little mouse king nutcracker. So I think altogether it's going to be a great theme to host at our home, since everything will be decorated for Christmas by the time her birthday comes around. Lastly, I wanted to share with you this gorgeous snow globe that I found. I'm actually gifting it to my mother for her birthday, and I thought it was just the prettiest old world looking Christmas decoration. It lights up, and I think that because of the brass finish, it would fit really nicely in a home that has antiques in it. So if you're looking for something that is sophisticated for Christmas that you want to showcase in your home, I think this is a great piece to invest in. Okay, my friends, that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. I hope that you found this video to be inspiring and encouraging, and I really look forward to sharing more about how we are transforming our home for the holidays.